Fong here, naturopathic doctor and specialist in skin diseases, especially eczema. And we are going to be talking about eczema today, how eczema is really just an alarm system that is really helping you to see that there are some underlying root causes that you really need to pay attention to. Eczema is not the problem, it's just an alarm system indicating that there is a problem underneath. So what we're going to talk about and what I want to have a discussion about today with all of you is what are those root causes of eczema that are causing the eczema to occur. They're causing that alarm system to go off. I wrote a post today depicting a car and a person driving the car, and then the check engine light comes on. And imagine if you took your car to the mechanic and your mechanic gave you a piece of tape to put over the check engine light. Imagine how you would feel. Well, that is the same thing we are doing with our bodies. Unfortunately, when we go to a conventional dermatologist or doctor, a lot of times they are just giving us a Band-Aid to put over our symptoms, such as topical steroids or biologics like injections, which are not actually getting to the root cause of the problem. They're actually just silencing the alarm system. So I think this is a really good analogy of the check engine light. And you know, what we want our mechanic to do is pop the hood and actually check the engine to see what's going on with the engine, what's wrong with the engine, and actually figure out how to fix that problem so that the alarm system turns off. And just by changing the way that you're looking at your symptoms, you're looking at the eczema as an alarm system as opposed to the actual problem. This really changes everything, and this really opens up a whole new world of how you can actually address your symptoms of eczema. And again, I just want you to look at it like that. So when we're thinking about the root cause, there's so many questions we need to ask, and we really need to start at the foundation. And what is the foundation? Well, at Clean Body, we've identified 5 pillars, and I call them the Clean Body pillars of health. So they are clean food, clean mind, mental health, clean fit, which is fitness, a good fitness routine, clean environment, and lastly, clean routine. You need to make sure that you are doing things on a daily basis to make sure that you are detoxing and helping the body to really do all the things that it needs to do. And if we just start at this foundation, I think there's a lot of things that we might notice here. So a SAD diet is unfortunately what a lot of us partake in, and that is a standard American diet, and we call it a SAD diet. And that is a diet that's really devoid of a lot of nutrient-dense food. We're eating a lot of white foods like white rice and white bread, which don't have a lot of nutrition. A lot of the nutrition is actually found in your rainbow colored foods. And unfortunately, we're cooking our foods. Sometimes we're actually cooking our foods too much that actually the colors really come down in our food. And we might also be eating foods that we are intolerant to or allergic to, which also could be problematic. And so clean food is really important. We also might be exposing ourselves to toxic foods, things like pesticides in our non-organic food. This also could be things like GMO foods, those are genetically modified foods, or maybe you're cooking on pans that are toxic. So there's lots of things we need to consider when thinking about clean food. This is something that you put into your mouth 3 to 5 times a day. So if you are consuming toxic foods or cooking on toxic pans, this is a big deal that you guys need to think about. Number 2 is clean mind. And this is a really tough one because we live in a very stressed out world, and it's really hard to maintain a level of low stress and be happy. And unfortunately, that's hard in today's world. And if you are stressed out all the time, you are in what's called fight or flight mode. And we need to get you into rest and digest mode. And that's really a mode where your body can heal, your body can digest, your body can detox. All of these things are so important. And unfortunately, this is one of the pillars that we really fail at. And whenever I see eczema people, especially adults, this is a big problem. The third pillar of health is a clean environment. And this is a big one that is really hard because a lot of us don't even know what the toxins are. We don't even know what toxins to look for. We think that maybe we're doing a great job with the exposures of our toxins, but unfortunately, we might be actually consuming and putting on our skin and using laundry detergent that's toxic. And maybe we're even paying attention to marketing and oh, this is clean, but actually you look at the ingredients and they're not clean. So this is another one. We're exposing ourselves to toxins in addition to other types of toxins like coffee and alcohol and recreational drugs and all of those. There's also just toxins that we kind of don't really know that we're being exposed to. And a clean fit is our next pillar. And unfortunately, we are living sedentary lives nowadays. We are at computers. We are not moving our bodies. Before we used to, before computers and before we were sitting down at desks, we were out there moving on a daily basis. So especially for eczema people, you have what's called a lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system is really, think of it like a garbage disposal of your system. And we need that system to be really clean in terms of the movement of your body, because your lymphatic system actually doesn't have a pump. You need to pump that system. Your heart is actually a pump for your cardiovascular system, but your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So you have to move your body, which can also be very difficult if you have very severe eczema. So this is something that we need to help you to understand, is how do we drain the lymphatic system and get it moving again. Okay, so fitness is one of those things. And if you even at the very least just move every single day, go for a walk, take the stairs instead of the elevator, these are all things that are really helpful. And the last pillar is called clean routine. And clean routine, there are so many routines that we really need to put into our lives. I am actually doing a live masterclass tomorrow where I'm going to delve into these 5 pillars a little bit more. I'll talk about some of the routines that you should start implementing in your life. But we need to really be helping our body to do the things that it's supposed to do on a daily basis, like digest and detoxify. Grounding ourselves and all of these routines. We need to be sleeping well and drinking enough water. And so there's some really key things that you need to focus on. And these are what I call the pillars. These are the basics, okay? So this is where we need to look first, because often these are some of the root causes that are like so simple to fix. Well, not always so simple, but some of them are pretty simple. And they often cost no additional money. They're things that you just don't know that you're doing in your life that could be actually causing the eczema to happen. So my recommendation is always evaluate those things first and then start there, like start cleaning up the pillars. And if you go to our website, cleanbody.health /assessment, you will see our clean body assessments. There is an assessment called the organ assessment, which we'll talk about in a second, but there's also an assessment called the pillars assessment. And you could do the pillars assessment. You could see how clean your pillars are and how much you might need to work on those pillars by doing that assessment. You can also go to cleanbody.health and just click at the top. There's a free assessment button. And then lastly, if you're following me on Instagram, you can go to my profile and there's also the assessment button there as well too, okay? So that's the pillars of health. Now, let's say you do all that stuff, or let's say you've already been doing all that stuff. You've cleaned up your diet, you're moving every day, you're doing everything that you think you need to be doing, but you still have eczema. Okay, well now we need to evaluate even further. So, maybe cleaning up your environment, your diet, and all of that was not enough. Well, now we know, okay, there must be some dysfunction in your organs. Now, why would there be dysfunction in your organs? A lot of times it's actually because of some of the pillars, like maybe you're exposing yourself to bad food, toxic food, you're exposing yourself to toxicities like heavy metals and environmental toxins. Maybe in your environment you have mold. So oftentimes the organ systems actually get imbalanced because the pillars are off in themselves. So cleaning those up really helps a lot, but sometimes we actually need to help the organs to actually rejuvenate themselves. And this is where our other assessment comes into play. This is our clean body organ assessment. So there's 17 organs. So if you are going to do the assessment, it takes about 10 minutes. Each organ system, you have about 10 little checkoff boxes that you would do in terms of symptoms. And it's a really eye-opening experience to actually do this assessment because you'll see, oh my gosh, this symptom is related to this organ. How interesting. And what you're going to see is that you possibly don't just have eczema, but you have a ton of symptoms, and they're actually all alarm systems. So all of the symptoms you're experiencing, they're just alarm systems, indicating dysfunction in your organ systems, indicating burden on your system. Okay, so if you want, go to the assessments and do the organ assessment as well too. You can kind of see the 17 organs. Bear with it because I know there's 17 organs and 10 questions each, so it's about 170 little checkoff boxes that you need to kind of click if you have those symptoms, but it's going to be a really eye-opening experience. Now, if you clean up the pillars and these organ systems are still imbalanced, and that's what we really need to do. We need to support those organ systems to heal. Now, some of the key organ systems in an eczema patient are the gut, the kidney, the liver, the bile, the hormone systems, and bile is actually the gallbladder. And so these are actually some key organs that are really imbalanced in, like, across the board, no matter how old you are, in terms of, from infants to adults, these are organs that can be burdened. Now, this is a question I get quite often. Well, Dr. Fong, my baby was just born. How are my baby's organs burdened? And unfortunately, we as mothers can transfer our toxins to our babies via the placenta in the womb, and then via our breast milk as well too. So those are some ways we can transfer our toxins to our babies. So sometimes our babies get toxins from us. The baby can also pick up microbiome imbalances like parasites, fungus, yeast, mold as well too, as the baby's going through the birth canal and just as the baby's drinking milk and exposing themselves to us as well too. So that's another thing to think about. And then there can be exposures when baby is born as well too in the hospital that also could be putting burden on the system. And so we need to think about all of these. And so unfortunately, our babies are crying out to us with eczema symptoms. And I know so many babies who now have eczema, and it's really just kind of a symptom of today's world. Our world is just so toxic. We're using so much antibiotics and other things that are just kind of wiping out the microbiome. And so unfortunately, our babies are being born with a less healthy and robust microbiome and more toxicity because we're being exposed to more toxicity as adults, okay? So from babies to adults, we can see this problem, but everybody is going to have different organ systems that are off. Everybody is going to have different reasons those organ systems are off, and so we need to assess that. So a big part of my practice at Clean Body is the evaluation part, and we do a lot of evaluation in terms of labs. Again, I'm doing a free masterclass tomorrow, which you can go to the link in my bio, and it's the first button. It's the Clean Skin Masterclass. It's at 6 p.m. tomorrow. If you can't make it, we also do send you a replay, so just sign up anyways because we'll send you that replay if you can't make it. If you can make it, you can actually ask more questions live. I'll be showing slideshows and things like that so you can kind of really start to understand this. But we really want to assess, okay, what are the different organ systems that are off for you? There's a lot of testing that we can do to understand that. Then we want to ask, okay, what are the burdens on the system? So that might be food intolerance, food allergy. It might be things like mold, parasites, yeast, fungus, bacterial overgrowth. There could be gut dysfunction. There could be liver burden. There could be heavy metals, environmental toxins, mold toxins. Okay, these are all things that we can think about testing for to understand. The other thing that we use in our practice is we use a journaling app. because tracking your progress and actually taking pictures of your skin, taking pictures of your poop, taking pictures of your food, all of this, we need to get into your life and really understand if you are actually optimizing these pillars. That's really, really important. And if you're not optimizing these pillars, again, this is where we need to start, okay? So these are all the root causes, and everybody is going to be different. So person A is not going to be the same as person B, or is going to be the same as me. So everybody's different. So we really need to evaluate everybody individually. So I forgot to say that I actually suffered from eczema my whole life. This is how I became a naturopathic doctor. I was really disheartened by conventional medicine, just was not giving me answers. And so my process was, okay, I had heavy metals, I had mercury, I had really severe gut dysbiosis, I had gallstones, and I had kidney stones at the time that I kind of figured all this out when I was in naturopathic medical school. And now I have been completely eczema free for over 10 years, completely eczema free. I never get eczema. And I never thought I would say that. I always thought I would be an eczema person, and I'm no longer an eczema person. Now that was my journey. Everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different, but I can tell you there are some things across the board that a lot of people have, like mercury, lead, aluminum, uranium, mold, fungus, yeast, bacterial overgrowth, gut dysfunction. Almost all eczema or skin disease people will have liver and gallbladder dysfunction. So there's some things across the board, but everybody has a little bit of a different mix of root causes. So it's really important to get a good evaluation. Okay, I would love to open it up to questions right now. And if you do have deeper questions, if you really want to delve in this with me, then join my free live masterclass tomorrow. It's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you go to the link in my bio, there's a button, the first button, it says Clean Skin Masterclass. Definitely sign up. Even if you can't make it, we will send you a replay. So just sign up and we'll send you the replay so that you could check it out. But if you can make it live, even better, because you can ask me a bunch of questions. And I think, that's the thing, is getting these questions answered. And that was the thing I didn't get from, my medical doctors, my dermatologists, and even the doctors I worked with when I was, planning on going to med school. And I thought I would get all these answers there. And unfortunately, a lot of the answers for conventional medicine is really just silencing the symptoms. Like I said earlier, like putting a Band-Aid over a check engine light, which is just ridiculous, right? We want to pop the hood, check the engine, and that is what we do in this evaluation process. We'll pop the hood, we'll check the engine, we'll see which part of the engine is in balance, and then we fix that, and that's why those symptoms get better. Okay? All right, I'd love to open it up to any questions if anyone has any. There was one question that was submitted. A woman asked about her child and whether it's okay to take milk thistle or stinging nettle for eczema and what the dosage is. My answer to this is everybody is going to need something different. So let's say you have a friend and your friend's like, oh my gosh, this totally worked for my baby. I gave my baby, 10 drops of milk thistle and this, and that, and it works. It'll work for your baby. Unfortunately, that's not exactly how it works. Not everybody is going to need the same thing as we kind of went through in this IG Live. People need different support systems because different organs and different burdens are the cause. So unfortunately, I really can't give a dosage unless, I really know the case. I really know what's really going on. And I really wouldn't recommend, especially for a child or a baby, just kind of trying a bunch of things, especially things like stinging nettle and milk thistle and things that possibly could even cause a little bit of a reaction in terms of detox reactions or allergic or intolerance reactions. So I do recommend you work with a naturopathic doctor or even a holistic nutritionist or even an integrative MD are all really good options. No matter where you are, my practice, Clean Body, can support you. So if you're interested in learning more about that, step one actually would be come to my masterclass because you can ask a bunch of questions there. We have different levels of support. We have support where I can support you individually. We also have support where you can work with a nutritionist, and we have also support where you can just kind of get coached, and that's our lowest cost option where you can really just get all of this information and try to do this on your own as well too, or maybe even work with your own practitioner. Okay. All right, great. I don't see any questions. Let's see. Do I see any questions coming in? It looks like I have to scroll here. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Does CBD THC truly reduce inflammation like arthritis? Okay. Again, different for everybody, but yeah, I mean, there are some people who really see relief with even just CBD without the THC. CBD can actually really help to kind of lower pains and things like that. Again, I would always recommend you work with a practitioner just because dosing and also other things that could be interacting with other things you're taking are important to think about. My exclusively breastfed baby has severe eczema and nothing works. I don't know what it could be. Is it me and what I'm eating? Okay. First of all, I do not want you to blame yourself, and you know, this is something that we don't know the answer to yet. Could the breast milk be part of the cause? It could be. There is a company where you can actually test your breast milk. It is actually on our website, cleanbody.health/products. And if you go to testing kits, there is a breast milk test kit, and you can just kind of see what's in your milk if there's toxins there. If you are eating anything like allergens, like gluten and dairy and those things, it also could be those that are going through your breast milk. So that's a possibility. And there could be toxins, as I said, in your breast milk. If your baby has severe eczema, though, I don't think it's that simple. I think we need to think about other things like, you know, whether the baby has had antibiotics, whether you had antibiotics during birth, which cause a microbiome imbalance. Is your baby a C-section baby? That makes a big difference too, because the microbiome will be off. Do you have amalgam fillings in your mouth? Those are metal fillings. Do you like to eat tuna? So there's a lot of questions to ask. And I think we need to answer those questions before anyone is blamed, right? And it could be the food, it could be toxins, it could be other stuff. So, you know, but there's a lot of questions to ask and then a lot of ways to answer that, okay? Is it okay to put Jamaican black castor oil on eczema? So for the most part, I do actually like castor oil on eczema. It's a little sticky, so it's not usually the most pleasant of oils to put on the skin, but we actually make a product called the Clean Skin Ointment, and we put castor oil in our product. So I actually do like it. It actually holds in the moisture really well. Could eczema be a symptom for an illness or a disease like cancer? Okay. What I would like to say about this is eczema is usually a sign that I like to call it a funnel, like we have a funnel, and it's a sign that the funnel is overflowing. And if you just started having eczema, it can be a sign that the funnel is overflowing and things are starting to get dysfunctional. And if you just started to have eczema, you know, I wouldn't worry that the dysfunction is so high. If you've been having eczema for a long time, it could be an indicator that there's more severe dysfunction in your body and the liver is really congested and the funnel's overflowing, and, you know, and we might need to just kind of assess you for dysfunction in the system. But I don't want you to kind of freak out and be like, oh my gosh, this might be a sign that I have cancer, you know, etc. You know, I think we just need to answer questions. We need to do an evaluation. We need to see what the labs look like. But what I will say is eczema is always a sign that the funnel is overflowing, that, you know, the foundation is imbalanced and maybe some organ systems are imbalanced. The severity of that, we don't know until we kind of look deeper and do some labs, okay? All right, and I itch constantly. When I scratch, I get dirt under my nails. I shower twice a day and am very clean. What could be causing the dirt under the nails? Oh my gosh, I know this very, very personally, so I feel you right here. I knew that I was no longer an eczema person when I would wake up in the morning and I did not have dirt under my nails. I actually could never keep my nails this long. They had to always be short. Now, we are always releasing toxins from our skin. It's one of the ways that our body actually releases toxins. And so no matter what, when you scratch, you are going to have, your body's going to pick up dirt from the environment, and you are also releasing things out of your body as well too. So, and actually when you are an eczema person, oftentimes you're releasing more toxins out of your skin. So I remember I used to smell metals coming out of my skin when I had really bad eczema. And that is actually because my body was trying to release those metals out of my body. So I remember this so intimately, and it never happens anymore. Every morning I wake up and it's just amazing. Like my nails have no dirt under them, and it's because I haven't scratched. So, I wouldn't worry necessarily too much about the dirt, except to say that you need to make sure that you're sweating and cleaning your system. I would do things like hot, cold showers to kind of circulate the system. And it's kind of a normal thing to see the dirt under your nails, okay? All right, and what foods do you recommend to support the gut? I would recommend you go to our masterclass tomorrow, 6 p.m., and sign up on my profile link, and we'll kind of talk about some of the foods that are great. As I said earlier, a rainbow-colored diet is really wonderful. I like you to look down on your plate and see a rainbow there, okay? All right, let's see. Do pre-probiotic pills help to support gut health long-term for eczema? So I would say in general, these can be great. There are some times when you don't want to use prebiotics. And then for probiotics, there are times you don't want to use certain probiotics. So again, I would recommend working with a practitioner if you are going to be doing supplementation, because, sometimes you're actually hurting the system by doing certain things that could be good. In general, though, probiotics can help. Now, the other thing I do have to say is probiotics and prebiotics alone will not heal a gut by itself. It's usually a 4R program that you need to do, which is remove, replace, repair, restore. So there's 4 things you need to do, and the pre-probiotic part of it is only the last part, which is the restore. You're restoring the microbiome. So you're missing 3 parts of a full gut health program when you're only doing the pre-probiotics. Okay? So oftentimes people will notice they'll take probiotics and person A did really, really well. Person B is like, I didn't notice any difference. Again, this is how we have some people using certain things and doing super well, and then some people using things and like not doing well at all, because everybody's reason is different. Okay? All right. I don't see any other questions coming in. If you do want to ask more questions, please come to my live masterclass tomorrow. It's free, and the link is in my bio. I'd love to have a deeper conversation with you there. I will be showing lots of slides and really getting deeper into some of the things we talked about today, and giving you specifics about routine and all of those recommendations that I would like to make. Some things that we talked about, you can do the assessments. They're free. Go to the link in my bio and you can click assessments. We have a bunch of programs to support you that fit every severity level and every financial status. You can check those out too. I also will talk about them at the masterclass tomorrow. And if you're interested in maybe just kind of bypassing all that and just meeting me directly and having me evaluate you and understand your health, you can book a discovery consult with me as well too, and that link is also in my bio. And when you do the discovery consult, you will actually fill out the assessments for me so I can kind of see what's going on and help you to understand what those mean. I'll also explain what labs we might do to understand and evaluate your health and what the beginning of treatment might look like. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I'm glad we got down to the root cause today of eczema, and I hope that I helped you to understand that your eczema is just an alarm, and we really need to understand what those root causes are. Okay. And can you please repeat the 4R? Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. I see one more question coming in, so I will answer that. It is remove or rid, repair, replace, repair and restore. Repair is actually repairing the gut lining. Restore is the microbiome. Replace is, replacing any things like digestive enzymes and things like that. rid is getting rid of foods that could be inflammatory and other things that could be causing a kind of bombardment of the system. Okay? All right. And if you want to learn more, please go ahead to my masterclass tomorrow. I can't wait to see you there. Oh, and hello, Kia. Kia says, loved your program, Dr. Fong. Crazy what a year's difference has been. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to see you here. And yes, you are one of the really amazing stories. In fact, I think I did share your testimonial at some point. So if you guys want to check that out, check that out. And Kia, thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. That's so awesome of you. And yeah, it has been life-changing to me. It truly is life-changing, because if you are an eczema person, you know what that means. And you know that that is something you feel like you will never get through. And Kia is a testament to the fact that, in only like 4 months, I believe, she kind of was able to get through that, get past it, get to the light, and now she's there. So thank you for sharing that, Kia. And yes, I will actually repost it right after I get off, okay? All right, thanks everyone, bye.